Hey y'all. I'm so sorry. I was muted. I lost my mic. I wasn't even in the stream. I'm trying to get it in before dinner time. So please forgive me for the delayed start. Okay, I gave it let me reintroduce the situation. So I'm saying that I think that this guy, Book of Sean, is going to probably continue to troll and trigger black women for viewership because if you look at his views, he's not really getting that many views on the other topics that he talks about. But when he brought Preach Thomas on there to talk negatively about black women dating whoever they want, he got a bit more traction. So now he is having this conversation about colorism to further trigger and troll black women. And so yeah, let's talk about it. Hey MJB, um welcome to the live. Yeah, thank you for letting me know that I was girl, I was having all kinds of situations, being muted, mic fell out, everything else. But I'm gonna play this I'm gonna play this interview and I'm gonna give my take on it. Um I mean, I've talked about on this channel before multiple times. I am a brown skin, phenotypically African woman with African features with 4C hair, full lips, full nose, full hips, full booty, and all that jazz. I am the mother of a dark skinned black girl. My daughter is probably going to be darker than Rashida. So that is the perspective that I'm coming from today. Colorism is something that I definitely care about. Colorism is something that I loathe. And, honestly, I always am very skeptical of black men trying to talk about this topic because they usually don't have the range. They usually don't have the range and the breadth and the depth to cover the conversation, or even they ask like the most insensitive questions. A lot of times they gaslight dark skinned black women. That's like their number one tactic. They gaslight dark skinned black women into it doesn't exist, it's all in your head, it's all all your fault, and or you're taking things too seriously or whatever the case may be. So bit I was already a little bit skeptical, but I was like, let me hear what they have to say. Now, back it up. I don't really know Rashida by her works. I only really know her from like lashing out against Chrissy. Like she just like comes out of nowhere every now and then, like every couple of years or every so often, she'll just come out of the blue and like lash out at Chrissy, like from nowhere. And so that's how I know her. But I mean, I'm like, okay, well, if she's an OG and pushing the colorism conversation, I mean, that is something that is worthy of respect because it's not an easy space to operate in. It's a very hostile space to operate in when you are calling out people on their colorism, when you are shining a light on colorism in the black community. That is a very hostile space to operate in. So for that reason, I would extend grace to women who venture into the colorism conversation, into the colorism advancing the plight of dark skinned girls and women. I would extend grace to women like that. So that's why I'm like, okay, she's lashing out at Chrissy, but I don't know the whole story. And honestly, I didn't really it wasn't like interesting enough, or like I wasn't curious enough to actually dig into the details to see like actually what she did or what she didn't do. All I know from my perspective, there are a few women, there are many women at this point. There are more women every day who are advancing the image of the rightful image of dark skinned girls and women. And I personally feel like every single black woman that wants to advocate against colorism and who wants to push forward the image of dark skinned women and girls, I'm here for it. And I don't think that it's only Rashida's or it's only Chrissy's or it's only Ayami Loho or it's only whoever is talking about these issues. Paris Milan talks about these issues. Though there's a content creator that's not creating content right now. Gosh, what's her name? I think it's like Divine Black Feminine Divine. Oh, I forgot, but she has her channel up, but she's not actually like producing content at this point. But she talked about colorism. And I know I'm missing a lot of people. There's so many women talking about colorism, and we're having meaningful conversations that are advancing the narrative that is actually pushing the needle forward, where Black women have an opportunity to process through what is happening. And then also, it's a place of validation because in most other spaces that are not our spaces, dark skinned women are gaslit into saying that colorism doesn't exist. It's all in your head. You're making it up. No, you're not missing out on opportunities. No, it's not that colorism. No, it's just that you're ugly. It's not about your skin color. It's just my preference. It's not about your skin color. I just like this or that. And so we have created a space where we can be like, "Oh, no, no, no. You're not crazy. This is a real thing. It's what's happening. This is how it plays out. These are, even when they try to do little underhanded stuff that's like low key shady and being like, okay, let's get more savvy, let's get more sophisticated so that we can really break down what is going on, um, with the issue of colorism, right? What are some strategies that dark skinned women and girls can employ to push their life forward? Those are the type of productive conversations that we are having in our space. I'm skeptical when especially dark skinned men, light skinned men tend to get colorism a lot better because it affects them in a different way. So when they look at dark skinned and brown skinned Black women complaining about colorism, they understand it way more. Dark skinned Black men tend to just gaslight the shit out of you and pretend like it's not happening because why? They're the ones who are perpetuating it mostly, right? And so they don't want to admit to any wrong. So I'm really concerned about this conversation because I feel like it pushes the narrative back. It pushes us back. And you're going to see, or rather, you're going to hear how this so called interview was very much so like a Kevin Samuels call in. I mean, it's very reminiscent of a Kevin Samuels call-in, whereby you have a woman with a low self-esteem calling in to a dark-skinned Black male seeking validation only to be, further humiliated, further exploited. Every single wound, every single trauma, every single hurt that you have, they don't offer any assistance. They don't offer any upliftment. They don't offer any love. They don't offer any compassion. They only throw salt in Black women's wounds. They only make everything worse. They only aggrandize whatever problem it is that you have. And there's no reciprocity of love or admiration, right? So that's like literally what's happening. So you can take a listen.
Most of us should have learned a long time ago. So Rashida's here tonight, and I want to talk to her. I want to bring her out because she is, I think, such an indelible figure. She's going to allow us to have a conversation that we don't normally get to have in public. African American communities have been dealing with this issue for a long time. It's called colorism. It's one of the things that it's called. Some other names for it. But colorism is something that we don't get to talk about in mixed company, as it were. But we're going to
And keep in mind, we really shouldn't be talking about colorism in mixed company. I mean, it really is an in-house situation. But anyway.
have this conversation publicly because I want you to hear her journey, her story. And don't you rush, don't you, as you watch it, don't you rush to judge. Don't you rush to assume. Don't you rush and think you know. You don't know. Wipe the slate clean and let Rashida present herself to you and let her give you her story so that as we get to the conclusion of the matter, you will have a greater sense of the person and not just the problem. Because she's not a problem. She's a person.
And I think that by him setting it up like that, he's already sort of inciting people to be hostile towards her because she's not, quote, just a problem. She's also a person. I mean, he's the one who set this thing up, right? He's the one who's introducing her. He can introduce her however way he wants to, right? He could say she's beautiful. He could say she's done so much work. I think she did like plays back in the day or like some type of like creative art around dark skinned women. He could have introduced that. He could have shared her work. He could have shared her book. I think she has a book. I'm really not sure. Y'all forgive me. But I know she's produced content around dark skinned women and girls. He could have introduced her as an author, a speaker, or anything. But what does this dark skinned Black man choose to introduce her as? A problem. You see? And this is the nice, nasty shade that these dudes do, right? They try to act like they're helping you, but they're throwing shade constantly. They're like these backhanded compliments that are really not compliments, right?
She's been moving through life and she's been conducting herself in life, and life has been treating her as if she was the issue. But my goal tonight is to shake that off. We're going to see what happens, but I'm going to do my best. Welcome to the show tonight, Rashida Strober. Hey, Rashida.
Hey, Dr. Sean, thank you for having me on. I appreciate this.
It's my. I saw you smiling and shaking your head during my opening. What were you thinking? I saw you thinking.
Well, I was just thinking about a lot of the stuff that you were saying, especially involving like the humanitarian aspects of the different people that you was presenting in the headlines and how people should behave towards each other.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me think about the topic of discussion tonight as a part of that humanitarian thing that you promoting and pushing. So,
I absolutely, and I thank you for that. I want to listen. Listen, before we get in, we're not going to do your story right away. I like to have what we call aha moments here on the show. So let's let's at least start with at least one aha moment now, and then we'll have some more after the break. Is that all right?
Yes, that's fine.
Aha moments, people. Okay. I love this question. This is my new favorite question. I'm determined to ask everybody who comes on this show this question. Give me a gratitude list. I want to know what you're glad about. Go ahead.
Oh God, I'm glad for the sunshine and the water because I'm down here in Florida and I just need that sunshine. So, like, I gotta have it. I'm very thankful for that.
Give me more. Give me more. Give me more.
What else? I'm thankful for my daughter, my son. My immediate family that's around me, the people that's been supportive of me in my endeavors and really, listen and try to understand. So I'm very thankful. It's a small group of people, but I'm very thankful for them.
No, I love that. I'm glad I pressed you a little bit because I think I love the dexterity of the list: sunshine and water, family, daughter, and your circle of support and friends. And let me just tell you what I'm grateful for from you before we take this break. I'm grateful that you came tonight to bring me your heart. And I'm grateful that I have a chance to speak to your soul and to listen to your story. There is nothing more sacred to me than the idea that someone would lay reverently before me. What it is, their heart.
Did y'all just catch that shit? Someone would lay reverently before me? What kind of narcissistic bullshit is this? If anything, your ass need to be listening to her. She's the one who's living the experience as a dark-skinned black woman. You should be listening to her. You should be coming with an open mind and an open heart. But you've already set the stage as you about to shake it up. You about to shake it off. So her whole lived experience as a dark-skinned black woman, you think that you about to shake it all that off in a 10-minute interview. And you're happy that she's laying reverently before you to supposedly get whatever bullshit wisdom that you want to spout out. This is the self-aggrandizing, grandiose attitude that keeps you guys just where you are and keeps colorism going right on strong because you don't listen. You don't even have the ability to listen. You don't even see anything wrong with your approach to the whole situation. Like what do you think you're some kind of god or something? Lay reverently before me.
Their
Get out of
soul
here.
happens to be feeling and worried about. And I take nothing more seriously than the conversation we're about to have. And I want to honor you because I know that there's a lot of people who feel what you feel. They just don't have the courage to say it. And I'm glad tonight that you've lived long enough to have the courage to say whatever it is you're about to say. Let's take this break.
So I guess he hasn't done any research on her because she's been saying this on multiple platforms for a long time. It's not like she just had the courage of today. Did your producers prepare you for the interview? Like, don't you know she's been talking about colorism for years?
And when we come back, Rashida and I are going to have the difficult conversation about complexion, about how she feels about being dark skinned, and how she's been made to think and feel about that. That may not be your issue, but I bet on some level it is. And what we do for her, we're also going to try to do for you.
Oh Lord.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to Rashida Strober. I like saying your name, Rashida. We're talking tonight. We're talking tonight about some of the challenges you've had to live with and face being dark skinned and what you feel and think about that. I'm going to get to that in a second. I want to ask you two more soul questions. Here's the first one. What do you want to be remembered for?
For talking about dark skin, for putting it out in front and center, what it's really like to go through life as a dark skinned person, in general, and as a dark skinned female in particular.
Okay, I like it. So let's start to make our way there because
Yeah, I mean, if Rashida was my homegirl, which she's not, I would encourage her to change her mission statement. I would encourage her to make it more positive, because just telling the world about the struggles of dark skinned people isn't necessarily going to change our experience, you know? And so I think that when you have like how you position your mission in life, with whatever projects that you do, it really does make a difference as to how you move and even the energy, because even her whole demeanor changed. If you guys go over there to that trash channel and watch the video, then you'll see how her whole demeanor just got real hard and real like sad when she was talking about that.
you have set the table, the knives and the forks are there, the glasses in the right place. We got all the plates and the bowls. So let's start to eat this meal. I want to begin in a very particular way because context is always important, right? Context. So tell me, um, what was your childhood like as it relates to what we're talking about now? Here's my question more specifically. How did your childhood shape you?
Well, Sean, my childhood was not good. It was a combination of poverty and what I call darkism, which is dark skin discrimination. And I started going through. See, when you're dark skinned and poor, that's a horrible combination. You come in, you got I had two dark skinned parents. Both of my parents were high school dropouts. My dad was he's deceased, but he was like 30 years older than my mom. And my mom, she had a lot of kids to take care of, not a lot of money, no education. And when I combined that with being dark skinned, it was a recipe for disaster. Because I always think now that if a dark skinned person happens to be born into a family where there's some level of wealth or education, they'll have a better chance. But if you a dark skinned person that's born in poverty and in the hood, you're gonna have a lot of hurdles to overcome.
Okay. Hold on. No, you're doing just fine. But I just no, you're fine. What I want to do is I want to process this conversation in a certain way. So when I jump in, it's just because I don't want you to jump too quickly to a different part. So tell me this. Let's stay in your house a little longer, right? Tell me what you were taught to feel about yourself.
Well, I got mixed messages because my dad and mom had separated when I was probably around 3 years old, and I was with my dad a little bit at a time. But whenever I was around him, he praised dark skin, but that was not the bulk of my experience. The bulk of the experience was with I was born into a family that did not see dark skin as beautiful, that did not see my dark skin as beautiful, that seen it as something that was ugly, that's something that was bad. And so, for example, I have light skinned people in my family who I would sit back and watch as a little girl be essentially rewarded for having light skin and good hair, while I was degraded for being dark skinned. And that happened in my immediate family.
Tell me how they degraded you. What did they do?
I just remember. I'm not gonna say. I don't want to throw my.
No. We don't want any names. No.
Ain't gonna say.
Yeah. I'm just trying. I mean, here's my intention. I'm just trying to understand.
You might as well throw names. You don't have to protect nobody. I mean, that's not your job. I mean, you do wrong to a child, you deserve to get your spot busted open.
For everybody that's watching, what does it mean to be degraded because of the complexion of your skin?
Well, for example, I was told that I couldn't follow or go with certain family members because I was ugly. Playing, you're black and ugly. They would rather be seen with a lighter skinned, so-called good-haired family member rather than me. I would sit back and watch light-skinned family members be rewarded with things like compliments, money, gifts, while I was flat out ignored. I was called names like black and ugly, nappy-headed. I was deemed to be fast. Just a lot of different negative stereotypes associated with me being dark skinned, and it was always my hair was too nappy. I was too dark. I was just too black, and they would tell me this. And so I was real quiet and introverted back when I was a kid. So I would just kind of like sit back and observe what was going on, and I just took it in. Yeah. I would just see the different benefits that was given to the lighter skinned people in my family while I sat back with essentially nothing.
Have you ever felt pretty? Have you ever felt beautiful?
That's a very good question. That's a struggle. To this day, it's a struggle. I can't really say that I have.
That was really hard to listen to. That was really hard to listen to, honestly, because, you know, just after all this time and putting in all this work, you know, to uplift other Black women, for you to be trying to uplift other Black women, but you yourself don't feel beautiful and you yourself are still really, really struggling with these issues. This is the absolute wrong place to be, to still have this sensitivities, because I would opt to be in a more nurturing environment where you can actually be uplifted and surround yourself by people who love you and adore you, and to find the men who desire you as you are. S- because y'all will hear how, like, he just glosses over, even when she was saying all the stuff that she had heard as a little Black girl, as a dark skinned Black girl. He didn't even acknowledge any of it. He just breezed past it and was like, well, have you ever felt pretty? Because I really think that his intention is to get down once he smelled blood. Oh, when she shows, okay, I have a low self-esteem. I don't feel like I'm pretty. These niggers smell blood and they're gonna go in for the kill. They're not our brothers, they're not our friends. They don't see us and like, oh, let me uplift my sister. Oh, let me help my sister. No, it's okay. You have a low self-esteem. This is going to be great content for my channel. Let me go in on it.
It's a struggle. Sometimes I might feel that way, but then because of all the conditioning, I don't really internalize it. So I can't really say that I really, really felt beautiful or pretty. No.
How do you feel hearing yourself say that? How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel bad, but at the same time, I'm happy that I'm telling my truth. I just want to be honest about it. It's a painful thing to admit to, but at the same time, it's just like to get it off my chest and to say it. It's like a release, like a load being lifted off because I'm just simply telling the truth about how I feel about my.
Sometimes when you have a body like that, there's an identity around struggle and pain. You know what I'm saying? Like, even every struggle and every pain, or even when you're in a bad relationship, there's some type of benefit to it, because sometimes you can even wrap your identity in the pain. You know what I'm saying? So who are you without the pain? Like, I'm the girl who doesn't think I'm pretty, and I'm going to build a whole empire. I'm going to build my whole career around my insecurities. Like, I can see how that can be liberating, but I can see how that can be chains. It can literally like chain you to the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would think by this point you will have embraced, because what I see is a gorgeous woman, like just really, really gorgeous. Her skin is beautiful. It looks flawless. She has beautiful hair. She has beautiful bone structure. I see a beautiful woman. But if you don't see a beautiful woman, Houston, we have a problem. We need to like, what is happening that you've been in this work, in the self-development? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've been doing self-development. Are you just uplifting other people, but you haven't taken the time to uplift yourself? Because that's something that I really share on this channel, is that we as Black women must tend to ourselves before we go and try to tend to others, and before we try to uplift others. If you want to make other dark skinned Black women and girls feel beautiful, feel accepted, and feel like their skin is gorgeous, then it really begins with you. So whatever is going on that is keeping you from that reality must be addressed as soon as possible, as soon as possible, because it really broke my heart to hear that. It really broke my heart to hear that I'm looking at this gorgeous woman, but if I sit up and tell her she's gorgeous, she may not possibly believe me. And it's true, she is gorgeous.
So
Yes, and your experiences. So tell me this. Just complete this phrase for me. Light skinned people are what, as you see it?
privileged.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, they have a lot of privilege. Again, drawing off of my own personal experience, I personally seen the light skinned people in my family rewarded with, money. Like I said, gifts, praise, help with, when you growing up in the world, you young and you just coming out, you need some support. I've seen the light skinned people in my family be given a push, like with college, with starting off in life, with cars, housing, money, all of that. Whereas I was homeless.
Yes. Okay. So that's perfect. So complete this phrase for me.
He said that's perfect. He didn't listen to anything that she just said. The stuff that she said was very traumatic and very impactful on her as a young girl and teenager. He wants to push past. This is why it's not safe to talk to these people. Not about these kinds of issues. They are not equipped. They do not have the depth, breadth, compassion, or empathy to talk to dark skinned Black women about colorism. If anything, they just need to be quiet and listen. And if anything, many of them I would just write off, because it's like, you guys are ruined. Like, we can't get through your skull. I can talk to you for 8 hours straight about colorism. I could have 100 different dark skinned Black women line up and tell you, and they can be from all over the country: Cincinnati, Miami, Utah, San Diego, Seattle, Ontario, and everywhere else in between. And they can all tell you, and they don't know each other, and they can all tell you their experience as dark skinned girls and women. And you at the end of this synopsis, at the end of the presentation, you're still going to be acting stupid. You're still going to be thick in the skull. You're still not going to believe them. That's why it's like, y'all are just like, you're getting old, sir, anyway. So just once you go and you just go on and transition over, y'all are a lost cause, because you're still not listening. This woman just explained. um Hold on, y'all. Let me plug up my laptop real fast. This woman just explained all these traumatic issues, and and um and you're gonna sit up here and be like, all right, that's perfect. All right, that's perfect. Let me move on. Hey, Jolie. It's like, it's crazy.
Dark skinned people are what?
Fighters.
Ooh, Rashida. Come on, Rashida. No, baby. Come on, Rashida. No, sis. No, baby. No. See, this is what we're trying to. This is for those of us who are doing this imagery work for Black women, brown skin and dark skin. Those of us who have African features and kinky hair. This is the exact message that we are doing our darndest to release. We don't want to be seen as fighters. Rashida, do you see how the fighting archetype is keeping you in bondage, sister? Do you see how this fighting archetype it, because you've internalized what these outside sources have said about you and what they say about us as brown and dark skinned black women? We're fighters, we're warriors, we're mules, we're mammies, we're self-sacrificial, we give to the community, we have a low self-esteem. No, this is the exact energy that many of us have locked arms. We are working diligently to release that, to show that we black, dark skinned, and brown skinned women are feminine. We are soft. We deserve protection. We deserve provisions. We are women first. That's exactly what the image that we're trying to shed is, the fighter. It's very interesting that that's the first thing that came out of your mouth. Light skinned people are privileged, dark skinned women are fighters. I would challenge that within myself if I were you, to release that, because that's really going to take you to the next level of your development as a woman.
A lot harder for a lot of us to earn everything we get, especially if we're coming from a disadvantaged background. Nothing is ever given to us easily, and we really have to prove ourselves and know our stuff. Because we're dark skinned, we have to work harder. It's no getting around that.
I'm going to assume that Rashida is still entrenched in certain communities. I'm going to assume that. And that's maybe why you have that exterior. And maybe that's why you have that mentality. But truth be told, I'm living in a hole like, sis, I'm trying to tell you, when you make that transition over and you start finding where you have some cachet, okay, you start finding where you're desired, where you start finding where you don't have to work. I don't be working, I don't cook, I don't clean, but I be getting shmoney though. I don't do none of that. I sit up and look cute. But I had to find where in the world am I desired? Where in the world am I cherished? Where in the world am I put on a pedestal? Where in the world am I treated like a princess? Because that's where I'm going to go. I'm a pleasure seeking individual. Wherever you are, sis, wherever in the world that you find yourself, that you're fighting and working hard and you're the fighter, nothing is easy, leave that place. Leave it. Girl, leave it. Find somewhere where life is easier for you, because you're gorgeous. And you're going to be gorgeous for some years because you got that melanin that's popping. You got about a whole another 20 years to sit up somewhere on a pedestal by somebody that's going to treat you and cherish you the way you deserve to be treated. Girl.
There's no getting around it. Like there is no dark skin privilege, especially not for dark skinned females. There is none. Doesn't exist.
No, it's very, what you say is very interesting. I'm wondering tonight, and again, I just want to speak in general terms. So your family, would you say it's mostly light skin, dark skin? What's the makeup of your complexion of your family?
I would say the makeup is mostly dark skin, but there's a high level of deference and praise given to light skin with good hair. I have a particular person in my family. One of the things that Black people like to do is say I have Indian in my family. So I have a particular person in my family that likes to stress that my great grandmother was Indian, which makes this person feel better about the darker skinned people in the family. So it's just this real sickness when it comes down to dealing with the truly dark skinned people that don't look like they mix with anything, but as like this consolation, it's like, okay, but your great grandma was a full-blooded Indian with long pretty hair, so that makes it just a little bit better.
So let me ask you this: on a scale of 1 to 10, being awful, 10 being out of this world great, where's your self-esteem?
I did not tell y'all this was about to go Kevin Samuels. Did not tell y'all. Did not tell y'all that this was about to go Kevin Samuels. Same thing. Oh, you got a low self-esteem? Let me exploit it. Oh, rate yourself.
Scale of 1 to 10.
Oh man, that's a great question because it fluctuates. It's
Rashida, bless your heart. Bless your heart, baby girl. You don't realize the con that is being played on you right now. You don't see, for whatever reason, I guess you're caught in this struggle, like fighting. Life is hard, and that's your reality. That's the reality that you've created for right now. But this is a whole con. This whole question that this male just proposed to you is a whole con. It's just the same shit that Kevin Samuels do. Rate yourself from 1 to 10. So he wants you to rate your self-esteem from 1 to 10 on national TV. And how you think that's pushing colorism forward? How you think that a little black, dark-skinned black girl looking at you up on this thing, how do you think that you're inspiring her? What does she have to look forward to? This ain't the space for this. We need to be discerning as black women where we go to process trauma. Sitting on this man's TV show with his lack of compassion, his lack of understanding, his lack of empathy, his inability to listen, his grandiose attitude. He told her that she was going to prostrate before him and revere him. That's how he started it off. He started the interview talking about she was a problem. How you think how you think we as a collective, because regardless of how you feel about me and regardless about how I feel about you, regardless how you feel about Chrissy or anybody else that's in this space, we are a unit and we got to get on code. We need to be very discerning as to where we go to process trauma. We need to be, when we talk about colorism and we include black men, we need to own it. We ain't going on your show. No, you come on my show. You come on my show. I'm not coming on your show. No, you come on my show, because as black women, we need to control the editing. We need to control the narrative. We need to control the imagery. We need to control the questions. We need to control the flow, because you aren't capable of doing it. Because every single time when you have an opportunity to lift up a black woman, you miss that chance. Every single time you have an opportunity to exploit her low self-esteem, you take full advantage. You see?
as low as -1 all the way up to a 10. It just honestly it fluctuates depending on. So, for example, when I was growing up, I would have to say somewhere around maybe a 2 or 3, just because of the people that I was around reinforcing negative stereotypes about being dark skinned.
So, Rashida, hold on, because I want to get one more question in before this break.
Sure.
Tell me how, in your experience, how have men responded to your complexion? Men that you were romantically interested in or attracted to?
Oh, it's been very difficult. I think that black men, you have wanted to use me for their own purposes.
Rashida, why are you limiting yourself to black men? Why? Why are you limiting yourself to black men? Why? Why? That's a question only you can answer. You need to free yourself from bondage. You need to go wherever you're desired. Wherever is somebody going to cherish you and treat you like the princess that you are. Somebody that will invest in you and take care of you. They have something to offer to you and your children to produce a better life for you. So you don't have to work so hard. You don't have to fight so hard. Everything doesn't have to be so difficult. Because we as women wasn't put on this earth to mule like that. And as a collective of dark skinned and brown skinned black women, we're rejecting this notion that we're supposed to mammy and mule for this community. No. Mm-mm. Not about to break my nails doing all that. No. We are really changing and I think you should tap in, sis. Like, come over here with us and tap into what we got going on. You're welcome. You're welcome to come over here and tap in. and really start to flow in your femininity. You can release some of that harshness. You can be able to actually woo-saw and rest. Take a break from this stuff. Because colorism is a beautiful conversation to be had. Uplifting the image of dark skinned and brown skinned women is a beautiful mission to have in the world. I believe that it can be accomplished in a way that nourishes you and that doesn't break you down. One that inspires you, doesn't beat you down, you know?
I don't think that I have personally ever been in a relationship with a black man, just because they thought that I was a pretty woman. I think it was something, a reason that they got with me for their own benefit, not like it would be for a light skinned woman where they see this woman as a prize and they want everybody to know this is my woman. She's
Yes, Rashida, you're right. They do think that light skin and white women are the prize, but guess what? Those ladies get the same black man. Those ladies get the same black man. The only difference between a narcissistic, self-absorbed, underdeveloped black male getting with a dark skinned or brown skinned black woman that's not truly his preference is that he will just probably treat you worse from the beginning, you know, and he won't hide his disdain for you. He will not hide the abuse as much because he almost feels like it's a pass to do it. Whereas the light skinned woman, he will try to hide the way he abuses her. He'll try to kind of cover it up a little bit. But these males are not successful in any place that they go. Whites, Asians, Latinas, Native Americans, wherever they Europeans, wherever they go, they have failed relationships. And like you said, you are exactly, I want to validate what you're saying. I feel like these men have always gotten with me, not because of who I am, but because of what they can get from me. Exactly. They use women as a resource. They're using you for 50-50. They're using you as a sexual, reciprocal. They're using you as whatever resource, a ride, a credit, whatever they can get from you. They're leeches and parasites. They don't really think of themselves as investing in a woman, whatever woman they choose to be with. They don't see themselves as, okay, I'm going to invest in my woman. I'm going to create a space for her to nest in. I'm going to create a space for her to be a homemaker. I'm going to create a space for her to be a mother or do whatever it is she has to do, and have her businesses or pursue her education, whatever it is she want to do. I'm going to go out and make a good life for her. They don't see themselves as that, period. I mean, as I was, doing some work for my business earlier, I'm listening to a live where somebody is like, he literally said, this black guy literally said, will you, I'm looking for someone who will protect me like my mom did. This man was like 40 something years old. This black male was like 40 something years old. And he said he was looking for someone to protect him like his mom did. And I was like, bingo, bingo. That's exactly what I've been saying. These guys don't want a woman. These guys want a mom. They want a mom. So the question is, that these guys use you. It's very hard as a dark-skinned black woman to find a non-colorist black male. So what you doing, girl? What you doing, girl? Why you still over there with them? Open it up. Find where you're loved and cherished.
beautiful. It's not like that with me. It's because maybe you're smart, or maybe you have some other attribute to offer. I don't ever believe that it was because, I find you beautiful and attractive and pretty. I believe I've been used by black men.
Really?
Yes.
Really? So in your experience, I just want to make sure I got it. In your experience, you don't feel like you have ever been desired for your beauty, for your for the wonderful presentation of your face, your beauty, your skin. You've only been needed is what I hear you saying. Not desired, just needed.
Right. Absolutely. That's what it's been. And it's, like I said, it's because of my dark skin.
How does that make you feel? Because because I'm asking because I want to start to tap into your heart when you say that, right? And there are plenty of women and men even out here right now who probably feel the same way you feel. I need you to speak for them. How does that make you feel?
It's a mixed emotions. Sometimes I feel really bad about it. I feel bad because I feel like I'm being used. In fact, I know that in a lot of cases I have been used and taken advantage of, and I don't like that feeling of being used. I want to be I want to be seen as being beautiful. I mean, that's a part of being a woman. That's a part of
How bad do you want it? Do you want it bad? Do you want to be desired bad enough to go where where you're desired? Like, how strong is the urge to be desired? And would you be willing to go where you need to go to be found by a man who truly desires you? You're fucking beautiful. What the fuck? You're highly desirable. So I don't know where you are, and I don't know how you've got. Well, I understand how many of us get caught in a cycle of exploitative relationship after exploitative relationship after exploitative relationship. But I would encourage you, sis, to break that cycle. You have the power to do it. You don't have to be in any more exploitative relationships. You don't have to limit yourself to black males. But I think that the number one thing is working on your believing it. That you deserve to be living in a life of luxury. Yes, you grew up poor. I did too, baby girl. Me too. I did too. I grew up poor too. And so I have been working on money mindset, investing, budgeting, living, doing upgraded things. I've been working on that stuff for years because it does take a lot to shake a poverty mindset. I know that. It's not easy. And I don't want to even present it like, oh, just stop doing it tomorrow. No, this is something that I've been working on for years, literally years. And I'm still have my own personal struggles with that. I still have my own personal struggles with that. But I know if I want to be treated by a certain way by men, by whoever, but especially by a man, I want a man to invest in me, give me money, take me shopping, take me on trips and all that. I want it. That's what I require. Then I have to move my mindset to know that that is what I deserve. That's what we're doing over here. And it's not even like a big deal. It's just everyday life. Everyday life, my everyday life is men doing stuff for me. That's just my everyday life. I don't even think twice about it. It's become such second nature for me to be provided for as a black woman. But I know that we're not reared to be cared for. And so there is a lot of internal mental reprogramming, emotional reprogramming, reconciling within yourself to believe that and to know that within yourself. And then from there, you go where you're desired and you begin to attract that investment. You begin to attract men who protect and provide for you. And I think that you will see once you open up, because I'm just going to claim it for you, girl. Once you open up your options, you're going to see how actually your beautiful, flawless, youthful, dark skin is a hot commodity, a extremely highly desirable um, feature among other men. If you catch my drift, sis.
my power, and I don't feel like I've gotten that. I just feel like I've been used. It's almost like the person has to really prove and show me because I'm always suspecting them of having ulterior motives. So it's hard to see them as being genuine and really into me for me and not for whatever other purposes that they may or qualities they may see in me. Yeah. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, listen, you've given us a lot, and this no, and I mean that in the best positive way, because I think you speak to and you tap to something that we're going to need to address.
There's something really important I want to kind of point out though when she says I'm skeptical of people and I don't trust people because I think that people are going to use me and exploit me. That's an energy that you have, right? That's a belief that you have. So when you have helpful people, that energy will push them away. And that energy will attract the exact thing that you say that you don't want. Because I think a lot of times we say things, but we haven't done the energetic work within, and we attract that very same thing to ourselves. So, like for me, I can say like, "Oh, I don't want to be a single parent," but if you don't have the skill set to vet men, if you don't have the skill, if you haven't opened up your mind to go where you're desired, to go where you're invested in, to have standards, to have requirements, to expect and require men to invest into you before you even get to a situation child, then you will attract the exact situation that you say you don't want. So you say, "Oh, I want to be a family, I don't want to be a single mom." But if you don't have the energy that, then you will just that, right? So you don't want to be used, you don't want to be exploited, you say that verbally, right? But the energy and the actions have to match what you're saying so that you can have helpful people in your life. Because just like you say you don't trust people and you think that they're going to use you and abuse you, you can also say I attract helpful people into my life, and you can actually come up with a strategy to attract those people in your life. I have a video on my page about making level up friends, for example, right? Because I had to change my strategy about what types of women I'm attracting to myself. Not just that I just go, oh, well, whoever works. No, I have in my head exactly what kind of friends I want to bring into my circle. I have that in my head, right? I have an idea of what I'm trying to do. I have an idea of what kind of men I'm attracting into my life as well. And so you get to be the one to decide, Rashida. You are the pilot of your life, and you get to decide what kind of people that you attract into your life. You don't have to attract people who are going to be exploitative and all this and that. No, they can be helpful, they can be supportive, they can be, encouraging. They can cherish you, they can be resourceful, they can have information, they can enrich your life. You can attract people that enrich your life by saying that and doing the things that will bring you towards those very people.
As we address, the police terrorism and corporate violence and state-sponsored, totalitarianism, we also need to talk about how it is we treat each other and how it is the vestiges of white supremacy and anti-blackness have done its evil and concocted work upon the psychologies of one another. This is so interesting. When I come back, I got a couple more questions for Rashida, and then I want to talk to her soul. I want to pour into her. I want to give her something that I don't think she can get anywhere else. Because
Did y'all hear that? Y'all know it's about to get crazy when he do his spiel, right? Y'all already know he's gonna get crazy when he do his spiel because he said he got something for her that ain't nobody else got. No, bro. Any Dusty on the corner can tell her the same shit that you just said. Like any random, we can just walk with any random Dusty, and they gonna have the same commentary that you had. It ain't nothing special.
I'm hoping tonight that she will be open enough and that she will be broad enough to allow me, another dark skinned person, to speak to her spirit. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, if you've been watching, you've been listening to Rashida Strobert walk us through her, I would say, horrific journey as it relates to how the world made her feel about her complexion and her skin. And Rashida, you've given us a lot tonight. A couple more questions I want to ask you before I ask you to listen to me. Tell me this. Tell me, how do you feel at your core? How do you feel about yourself?
He's just wanting her to reiterate on her low self-esteem.
It's a struggle. It's an internal struggle every single day being a dark skinned female. There are days where I feel great about myself because, I do certain things. I feel as a dark skinned woman, we have to take care of ourselves, our bodies, exercise, eat right, meditate, stuff like that. So when I'm on top of my game with that and my personal goals, I'm feeling good about myself. But then there are other days where I am reminded of the insults that I grew up with being, for being dark skinned.
Yeah.
And so I become, so for example, when I go around a lot of black men, I start to feel a certain level of insecurity because that's one of the places where I've always felt not pretty enough. Going back to the school bus, the big yellow school bus, being on there, being picked on, being talked about. So it's like I get unsure in certain situations. So my self-esteem goes up and down to this day. It's never solid.
Yeah, I got two more for you. Here's one. And everybody watching wants me to ask you this question directly, so I'm going to ask it very directly.
Everybody doesn't want him to ask this question. He wants to ask this question, but he doesn't want to take full accountability of this question. So he has to put it off on the quote audience. He's the one who has the question.
Do you hate your skin?
I can't say that I necessarily hate my skin tone and dark skin. Mm-hmm. What I hate is the stereotypical treatment and the privilege, the non-privilege, should I say, that comes along with being dark skinned. I hate the baggage.
Yeah. I was just about to say, you hate the burden.
Yes.
That often comes along with the experience of being wrapped in the skin that you're in. So here's my last question for you. And I want you to take a deep breath, because I want this question to really do its work on you, and I want you to speak from your soul. Tell me what you really want. What do you really want?
Power. Social, economic, and political power. Okay. For myself and for dark-skinned people worldwide.
Okay. So let's do.
So what I really heard is, I think what I'm hearing Rashida say in so many words is that she has put social justice work over her own personal well-being. That her desire is very abstract and it's very external, you see? And it's not an internal desire for herself, her own family, her own bloodline, but that she has put this community work, and clearly, this work has been to her own detriment. Because if you were investing the time, energy, and resources necessary within yourself, your self-esteem would be more stable and it would be higher. Your sense of self-worth would be, it would be more stable and it would be higher. And when I say stable, I mean I'm speaking to when she's saying, oh, it fluctuates, it's up and down, and sometimes I'm really down, when I'm having these flashbacks of various traumas that have happened in as a little girl. Now, these traumas, all of them, not just telling the stories of, okay, I was abused on the school bus, or I had to witness these family members, ignoring me and neglecting me while paying attention to the light skinned kids and this and that. Okay, so that's just telling the story, and it's just, there's some healing in just telling the story. But really, to take things a step further, it's processing that trauma within yourself, right? Resolving that and tending to little Rashida, the little girl who was left alone without protection, and comforting that little girl, healing her wounds, addressing the voice of little Rashida for the purposes of being whole, of feeling whole, being in tune with your own personal internal desires as a woman. I heard you refer to yourself as a dark-skinned female. And I just want to draw attention to that. You referred to yourself as a dark-skinned female. What that means is you have internalized how Black males see you. They're the ones who call us females. We reject that, because you yourself will have to step into your womanhood, the next level of your womanhood. You're not a dark-skinned female. You are a beautiful Black woman. You do have power. You have power and dominion over your own life. Everybody needs a break from this work sometimes. This work is daunting. This work is massive. This work is brutal, right? We all need a break sometimes. And we bring our best selves to this work when we are strong, when we feel good about ourselves, when we have a stable, high self-esteem and sense of self-worth. That is priority number one. I don't know what I want to call you ladies. I don't know if I want to call you like selfish ladies or like self-centered ladies. I've been thinking about this. I don't know. But I encourage you to be selfish over here on this channel. I really do. I encourage you to be selfish. I encourage you to be self-serving. I encourage you to be self-centered. I encourage all of that because the best type of sister to have is one who's whole and happy, one who smiles, one who has joy that radiates from within. That's the best type of sister to have. That's the kind of sister that I want in all of you. So yeah, I want you to be selfish, selfish as hell, selfish exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with being selfish. I think you should be selfish. I think you should serve yourself first. I think you should cater to yourself first. I think you should tend to your wounds first. I think you should heal and become whole for yourself first. You can see how this is affecting even her mission with these internal feelings that she has and not yet having reconciled them, and then coming onto this space dealing with this underdeveloped male that doesn't have the breath and the capacity to handle this conversation at all. Okay, let's listen to his diatribe.
Let's do this, all right? Because I've listened, and I felt I feel as if I've listened to you at the lower frequencies. I've tried to hear what you have said, and I've tried to hear the things underneath what you're saying. And I honor everything that you're saying, and I know what you are presenting tonight to be part and parcel of the experience of a lot of people who've had to deal with the rejection of dark skin and anti-blackness, even as black people manifested among ourselves. And so everything that I'm about to say is not what it's not what a psychiatrist would give you. It's not what a psychologist would give you. I'm going to give you what they can't give you, right? They can give you strategies and techniques for working through your history and your baggage. What I'm going to do is to speak to your spirit and to either encourage your spirit to keep going in the direction where you seek the power that you want, but also to ask your spirit to give you permission to liberate yourself from some of the things that you heard. And I'll begin like this. I want you to know in no uncertain terms that everything that you heard as a child was a lie. It was an unmitigated, unapologetic, unrelenting lie. But I also want you to know, as I think you have a sense of it as well, that the people in your life early on lied to you about your skin because they had been lied to. And that's the problem of the American experience. In the American experience, we are taught that the closer you are to whiteness, the better you are. And the closer you are to the complexions of whiteness, to the attributes of whiteness, to the behaviors of whiteness, the educations of whiteness, the better you are. And you and I, being as dark as we are not as far away from that as you can possibly get, but we're heading in that direction. And you're right, Rashida. This world has never loved little dark girls. It has never wrapped its arms around little dark girls. But I'm going to tell you something that most people won't tell you. Truth of the matter is that in spite of that, this world has never been able to turn without you.
Okay, let's pause right there. Okay, let's just pause right there because I want to draw your attention to what this Dusty just said. He says the world has never loved little dark black girls. The world has never wrapped its arms around to embrace you. But let me tell you something you've probably never heard before. This world can't turn without you. That translates to muling. That translates to muling. That means that we won't treat you as a delicate woman, but 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 we need work in order for the world to turn. That's not new, Dusty. It's not innovative. You haven't shared some breakthrough information that she can't get from any Dusty on any corner in America or from anybody. Yes, everybody wants dark skinned women to mule, despite not having the world wrap its arms around us. You're not sharing anything new. This is the exact situation that we are putting an end to. We are withdrawing the muling from the situation. This not a badge of honor to mule. We don't not like, oh well, we won't include you in anything, but we'll include you if you mule. No, thank you. More and more of us every day are starting to say no, thank you to this grand opportunity to mule for the community.
This world has never been able to turn without you because you braid the mysteries of the universe in your daughter's hair. You sit the world in your lap and you remind all the.
So when he says you sit the world in your lap, what he's referring to is the mammy. You sit the world in your lap, black woman, because you are the world's mammy. Thank you for you. So, yeah, the world doesn't love little black girls, but you can mule for us. You can mammy for us. And and Rashida's she's nodding yes, y'all. She's nodding yes. I'll mule. Yes. I'll mammy. She doesn't even see the con. This is a total con. This isn't some grand gesture. This isn't any type of admiration that you want. This isn't desire. This isn't being desired for who you are as a woman. This is you being desired for what you can do. The very same thing that you say you don't want. You say you don't want to be exploited. You say you don't want people using you, but you're nodding, yeah, as he's telling you to mule and mammy. And this is his idea of lifting you up. Keep in mind, up until this point, he's never said, "Oh my God, Rashida, you are gorgeous. Wow, you look beautiful. Thank you for joining me today." Have you heard him say that? No, not directly. He's kind of hinted, around, but he hasn't given her a direct compliment. He hasn't given her a direct compliment, but now he's giving her this grand invitation to mule and mammy, and you should be grateful and thankful for that. And she's nodding. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I'll do it. It's crazy.
Who believe that we are carrying the earth on our shoulders, you remind all of us that if we would just look to our left or to our right, the dark skinned sister standing there is already carrying it.
So basically, what he's saying is soldier justice. So I've got the world on my shoulders, but the dark skinned woman is next to me doing it too. He hasn't complimented her femininity at all. He's complimented her ability to mule, her ability to mammy, and her ability to social justice warrior.
Say something to you in no uncertain terms. You said that you want to feel beautiful. You want to sense yourself as beautiful. And I want you to know that that is going to be your life's work. And it is your work. It is not the work of the world to convince you of that. It is not the work of the men who come into your life. It is the work of white supremacy. It is not even the work of black consciousness. It is your work to understand that beauty, there is a word in Hebrew. I feel like throwing my shoe. There's a word in Hebrew called Yafeh.
He's really feeling himself with this dusty struggle bandit logic.
And in the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, behold, God has made all things beautiful in their own time. And that word beauty in Hebrew is Yafeh. And that word Yafeh does not mean physical beauty. It means appropriateness. That everything has been made with its own appropriateness, its own reasons and intentions for being here. And I want you to understand that not only are you physically beautiful, let me say it again. Not only are you physically beautiful, let's try it so your soul can get it. Not only are you physically beautiful, you are morally beautiful. You are intellectually beautiful. You are psychologically beautiful. You have represented yourself on this.
How is she psychologically beautiful when she's coming on the show with all these self-esteem issues? It's just the fact that you like it. You get off on it. You're very sadistic. You're getting off on this woman's pain. You think that the psychological she's in need of some support right now psychologically. She's in need of assistance. There's nothing beautiful about this level of trauma. And it's not this is a trauma, it's unprocessed trauma. And you're praising it like, oh, it's beautiful. Oh, and he didn't say you are beautiful and you are these things. He says it's not only that that's what I'm saying. He never directly compliments her. Like it's a non-reciprocal relationship. It just reminds me of when Kevin Samuels sat down with Tasha K. And Tasha K was like, "Oh, Kevin, you're so handsome. Oh, Kevin, you dress so nice. Oh, Kevin." And he never told Tasha, "Oh, you're beautiful," or "You're pretty," or like, "Oh, you have a great platform," or "Oh, you're doing a good job." He never reciprocated any compliments to Tasha K. Not nary a one. I don't even know if he thanked her for interviewing him. The entitlement is just quite disgusting. I know exactly the woman who doesn't exist. He said she's psychologically beautiful. And I think what he's low key saying is I'm getting off. I'm getting off on you um sharing this vulnerability, this, I'm getting off on it. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Show tonight as being a woman of stellar intelligence and communication. Any man who does not want you does not want to ever achieve the best of himself. And I know the world has conspired to make both you and I feel as if being what we are and wrapped in this complexion is a badge of disgrace and honor. But I beg you, my sister, to shake off the fetters of the great lie. The great lie is not that Donald Trump secretly won the election. That is a lie. But the great lie is the fact that there's something wrong with being who and what we are. You said something at the beginning of the show that I want to push back on. You said to be born poor and dark is a terrible, horrible burden to bear. Maybe I misquoted it, but I think I got the gist. And I want to say to you,
So he could stop talking and allow her to clarify what she said, but oh no, 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 no. He's just gonna barrel through without giving her a chance. She's right there. You don't have to misquote her if she's sitting right there. You can say, I think I heard you say this. Is that what you said? She's sitting right there. You don't have to just barrel through, but the thing is that you don't care what she said. You're going to say what you want to say any damn way.
you that I was born poor and I was born dark, and that's been my superpower. My superpower is that when America looks at me, she can't hide from what she did. I feel like running. that when people look at me, they have to see that I represent the source and the origin of everything. People have not always treated me well because I was dark. People have not only always expected much from me because I was dark. I could totally relate to what you're saying. But the difference is, sister, and what I'm begging you to do is to reject those conclusions because they are all fundamental lies. And here is the truth. And I'll leave you with this. Here is the truth. The truth is,
So he's basically gaslighting her. Like she's talking about her experience as a dark skinned girl and woman. And he's like, well, yeah, but I had those things, but they've been my superpower. So screw what you just said. That when that's her lived experience. That's why I say these guys do not have the breath to deal with these issues. And so when he says like when you say something and he's like, no, no, here's the truth, it's gaslighting.
you are so indispensable. You are so necessary. You are so
Indispensable and necessary all are around work. They're all they are all terms around working. That's nothing new to dark skinned black women.
beautiful that life conspired in all of its richness to make sure that you're still here. And had you been as ugly as sometimes the world makes you feel, you would have been dispensed with a long time ago. But your beauty cannot be measured on magazine covers, for that is no beauty at all.
So in other words, I know that you're not on magazine covers, but don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. This is like the worst compliments. These are extremely narcissistic compliments. Extremely, because they're not real compliments.
And I'm hoping tonight that as you go forward, you will do the great work of understanding that you have something, that you have something that's not just needed, it's desired. There are black men, there are men in this world who would rather be with you than anybody else.
Notice how he doesn't include himself in that group of men.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Listen, I don't have time. I don't have time to get a sustained response. They're pushing me to break. But I just want you to know that you are loved from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. Do you understand that?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, and the power you seek is the power you already have. Let's take this break. I'll be right back with more Ask Dr. Sean right after this. Thank you, Rashida. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for a little.
All right, y'all. Wow. I just had to share. I had to jump on here and share this. This was just like I feel like the circuits in my brain are a little bit fried after listening to that. N- I, this is not pushing us forward. This is not pushing the colorism conversation forward. I am able to hang out for a little bit longer if anybody wants to um, call in and give their perspective on what they heard. You are welcome to do so. The link is in the chat. Let me see. I'll post it again. I'll post the link again. But wow, y'all, just wow. I mean, this didn't take us forward at all. This was very like dusty. The questions were dusty. The pathology is very blatant. It wasn't uplifting at all. It seemed to be exploitative. Um, we see our sister has some work to do internally, and what can I say? Hey,
Hey, hello? Hello?
hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes. What were
Okay,
your
great.
thoughts on what you heard?
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm starting to think is a pattern with um black men um pandering to women that they deem as a low hanging fruit.
Mhm.
And this woman right here, as she spoke to that man and spoke to that man about her pain, I feel like it's just something about the way he responded just seemed like it's not coming from the heart. Like it's just like he's just saying all that to make him sound good. Like
Yeah.
when he put all those beautifuls out here, psychologically beautiful, and all those other, he's just saying so much fluff than what he needs to, and it makes you question: is he really being genuine about the message, or is he pandering to us?
Yeah, if he was pandering, he wasn't doing a good job at it.
Yeah.
If he was pandering, yeah, he absolutely was not doing a good job at all. If that's what was happening, because yeah, it just yeah, it just wasn't you know it wasn't hitting on nothing basically. You know.
And what I what I see a lot when certain males, especially the SJWs when they interview um, when they interview females, especially females that they think is going to make them show more popular, it's like the way they respond to what they go through, it's kind of like more like a victim blaming thing, or it's just like it's the tonality and um how they try to make it the woman's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had several opportunities as a black man to take responsibility for his part in it.
Hmm.
He had opportunities to talk about what he can do as a black man to address colorism. He had opportunities as a black man to talk about what he can do with his fellow brethren to improve the conditions of black women and girls, but he didn't take advantage of any of those opportunities. It's all your fault. This is all in your head. This is what the world, but no sense of responsibility at all. No sense of being like, I see you in distress. Let me activate my manhood to do something about it. None of that.
Yes. Yes, because as a man, you're supposed to provide. What are the resources um, that you can do to help women like her to make her feel that she is worthy of a dark skinned black woman? Because it's just it's only so much that you can do to try to put all this fluff out and kind of exclude you in this in the situation when you explain how you may be beautiful to somebody else, and like, not he's not saying that directly, but the way he like phrased it, the way he paraphrased it is like, uh, you may you're not in magazines and all, but you may be worthy of someone. Like the way he
Right.
just, yeah.
Extremely condescending. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
it's just like, I just think that, she wasn't quite savvy enough to pick up on the shade. And I think that sometimes, like, black women with that mindset, they crave that validation so badly from black males that, you know, they miss the micro abuses, right? Because this is a representation of what happens to a lot of us in our everyday relationships. We miss all the early devaluations. We miss all the early shade, all the early like exploitation and not really valuing us for who we are as women. And then before as we progress into the situation and we're in too deep, then we realize, oh my God, I'm in an abusive relationship.
That really resonated. It really resonated with me a lot. And when I got through this healing process, it was just so, man, it just kind of felt so, I guess, empowering in a way, because it's like now I got a chance to really see like all those the micro abuse and all those subtle disrespectful things and everything else. It's like I didn't see it. I didn't want to see it. I had the color glasses and stuff. But then when it spiraled into something that I was emotionally indebted to, it just, and then coming out of it, it was like, oh my God, it's like coming out of a very intense injury, like, and the healing process of it. It took a while. It's like a lot of reflection and everything, and then I realized that I shouldn't have to give more than what I need to. All I had to do was just rest in my femininity and let men be men and just receive. And I wish I just knew, but when you're broken like that, you just feel that you just have to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z to impress people, not understanding that you don't have to do all of that. They are the ones that are supposed to impress and provide and do all those things.
Right.
And yeah.
No, Absolutely, absolutely. And I really think that, you know, one of the resolutions, that we as Black women can really, um, resolve within ourselves is to just not seek validation from these males,
Oh God, yes.
because it's the wrong place to be looking for validation. It will be um, the road to hell, basically.
Oh
It's the road to hell. So this isn't a place to seek validation, but I do think that I don't like I would never, as women, like I know for me personally, it feels good to me to be desired by men. Like I like it. I like being desired by a man. I like to go on nice dates and have my date look at me with googly eyes and like, I like it, honestly, I do, you know? So I do think that there is a part of us as women that do like for men to desire us. So I don't want to in any way say that it's not normal to want to be desired or it's wrong not to want to be desired, but I think that trying to get trying to go to a source that doesn't desire you and to try to solicit yourself for to be desired or to be validated. I mean, I think that part of it is the desirability and then also of it is part of that validation, right? So we are reared as Black girls that we aren't really that important until a man claims us, or we're not really that important until some man will publicly acknowledge us, or that I think that's the big, like, publicly acknowledge, oh, that's my girlfriend or that's my fiance or that's my wife. And like then we've made it. Like now we're somebody, right? Now we're somebody. But before then we really kind of weren't anybody before then, right? And I think that's kind of like, I mean, I guess maybe that does cross over to other cultures, but I'm most familiar with the African American manifestation of that very notion that we aren't someone until some Black man validates us and says, yeah, you're important, or yes, I hear what you say. And that I think fuels us to go into these situations like that, to call into these shows to be critiqued by these underdeveloped males, you know, to put our heart on the line. And it's like, what have you done to earn my trust that I would even share my heart with you? Like what track record do you have with handling conversations such as this? What track record do you have? And I think maybe that's part of the vetting part. Like Charlemagne isn't a person that you want to go talk to about colorism. This guy isn't somebody that you want to talk to about colorism, right? Because these are the guys that gaslight you and say it doesn't exist. It's all in your head. Well, I'm a dark skinned Black man and I didn't have that experience, so it must be all in your head. So, so yeah, sis, is there anything else you wanted to share?
Um, go where you're. Just definitely go where you're desired. I learned the hard way, but at least I learned, and I'm still in my child rearing years, but I'm glad that I learned, and I am definitely for the level up movement. I'm definitely for um, women, especially dark skinned Black women, being provided for. I'm tired of doing all the work and feeling like I'm mammying and feeling like I'm being slaved and feeling like I'm just not being heard and being gaslit by these men of our own kind. And I don't want to do that. So if I have to branch out, so be it. Because I know that I'll have a way better experience. I'll actually be um, desired. I'll be listened to instead of gaslit, and that's just what it is. And that's what the woman should definitely do. Go where she is desired, because just because they look like you, that doesn't mean that they're for you. I mean, we see a
Bingo.
mm-hmm,
Bingo. I
we
think
see
that that's the what do you call it? That's the sobering information. Like you think that you've been doing community work all these years. You think that you've been working side by side with your men all these years only to realize, You haven't been. You've been doing the work for community. They've been sabotaging you every step of the way. You take up for them, they don't take up for you. When they die, you march. When you die, they're at home somewhere doing whatever they want to do. It's not reciprocal. And that's like a tough pill to swallow.
It
I'm sorry, go
definitely.
ahead.
Yes, it is a tough pill to swallow because here it is. If black women, and I really want to talk about like for brown skin, dark skin, black women, you keep taking up for these men and you are being a build a bear for these men. You want to be a ride or die and all that, and just make sure that you have this type of like utopia black love thing, and then it's not to down them because I mean there are successful black love couples, but if you keep just narrowing your search with these men and you're building them up, what they're going to do is they're going to, once they get to that level, they're going to act like you never existed, and they're going to be with those women that they've always wanted to be with. They never wanted us. They never
Yeah.
wanted women like me. They're just using us to get to where they really want to be. And once they're there, then they're gonna, just live their best life. They're gonna act like, who are you? You're beneath them. You were just only with me for the struggle and all. And we're like, you didn't have a pot to piss in. You didn't have anything. So how is it that you're gonna leave years and this and that? They will do that. The very successful ones. I'm not generalizing, but a majority of them, they are going to leave you and just go with, and that's what it is. And there we are. Here we are. We're crying and we're in YouTube. We're man man hating, man this, man that, and everything because we haven't broaden our options. We're in this pick me, build a bear, ride or die and all, and they're not about loyalty. Their thing is, to them, it's about who they feel is better, while we think, oh, who was there in the first place. So that's something that we have to like start kind of reprogram.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I completely agree. We have to let that go. I think that we project a lot of our own desires onto black men that they just don't have. We value loyalty, they don't. We value consistency in relationships and family, they don't. We value black children, they don't. So, as a collective, they do not. And so I think that we think that our loyalty will be rewarded, but it is not. It is not rewarded. It is taken for granted and it is shat upon. So we have to just understand and move in a different way that we have to put ourselves first and our own desires, getting our own business taken care of. And I mean financial business, right? I'm talking about assets. I'm talking about life insurance. I'm talking about deeds. I'm talking about accounts. I'm talking about investments. That's what I'm talking about. We have to get our finances in order with any man that we're going to be dealing with before we overly commit ourselves. And those standards are not like, oh, I have this standard for this set of men, but no standards with my own set of men. No, those standards don't change no matter who I'm dealing with. The standards are what they are. That way, we're not even going to get into this section because it's like, no, I'm not free. Anything that's free, you can discard. Anything that is free, you can discard. And that is why I talk about resource gathering and prioritizing resources on this channel for that very reason. Because there's no way to know a man if a man likes you unless he's spending money on you. There's no way to know. He can tell you all day, all night, oh, you're so this, you're so that, until he gets what he wants. But ask him for $100 and watch him block you. You see what I'm saying? Watch him block you. If there's a guy that's bothering you and you ask him for some money. There's a guy who's bothering you and you trying to get rid of him, ask him for some money. And then if he gives it to you, you're really trying to get rid of him. Keep going up on the dollar amount until he finally leave you alone. Because no matter what he says, he will not spend more than his desire. I hope that I'm making sense. He
Exactly.
will not spend more than he desires. When he wants a new pair of J's and they're sold out and there's somebody that's trying to sell them aftermarket for $1,000 and he really wants those J's, what you think he gonna do?
Exactly.
What you think he go
Exactly.
if he desires those J's bad enough, he's gonna come up with $1,000 because he really wants them.
Exactly.
It's no different when you're negotiating your own situation. It's no different. You'll know exactly where you stand by how much he spends. That's going to save a lot of black women a lot of trauma, a lot of drama, a lot of wasted time because they're not even going to be entering into these dusty situations. I want to say Paris Milan put out a video earlier today about Mike Epps, and Mike Epps basically said the exact thing verbatim that you said. He literally said verbatim that he was with his first child's mother, who's a dark skin. What I would say she's like brown skin. She's like a deep dark, like deep brown. I don't know what's dark and what's not, but she's like a deep dark brown woman, and they have a child together. And he totally treats that dark skinned child terribly. And he said that he was only with her because he didn't have anything and he hadn't made it. And then he got a brown skin. So he was with the darker woman. Then he got with the brown woman. He was with her for a while, and now he's with the mixed race woman. So now he feels like, okay, I've made it. I got my mixed woman. I got my 1/4 white baby. Like I'm good now. And he literally said what you just said. I was only with this woman because I didn't have anything. And this is the thing. I am not in the business of changing black males' pathology. That's not my mission in life. Okay?
Mhm.
This channel is about if you listen to the mission statement of my channel, my mission is to heal, encourage and inspire black women to heal their core wounds and embrace a life of luxury and abundance, right? That's my mission. That's what I'm doing on this channel. Black men can perish alone. I don't care what the
Exactly.
fuck they do. I don't care. I
Exactly.
only care about black women who want to do the internal work that it takes to change their life. That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm doing. So they may desire us to exploit, but guess what? We would have to participate with the exploitation. We have to give them permission to exploit us. We have to enter into the dynamic with them. And what I'm trying to do is cut off the black woman supply, right? So they have this endless supply of black women that are available to be used and abused, and they're just ready, they're just available. Well, guess what? Less and less and less and less black women are becoming available to be used and abused like this. That's going to cut off the supply. They're not going to be able to come and just run through black women, dark skin, brown skin, full figured, or whatever configuration that we have, because we ourselves are going to develop standards and we're going to choose the best man for the job. So gone are those days. Like, yeah, you might still be able to find that here and there, sure, but guess what? A lot of these guys are they're dissatisfied with their choices now. They're dissatisfied because now they really are having to go to the projects, right? They really are having to go deep into the hood to find black women who would know standards. The college, like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, how many Dusties do you know in the past who've had college educated black women? Black women with advanced degrees, black women who own homes, and they don't have a pot to piss in, but they're dealing with black women who own homes. There's no way that they're equally yoked on any stretch of the imagination. But they've always relied on being able to exploit high quality black women because black women have been loyal to their own detriment to dysfunction, right? But now the pickings are getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. They really, so yeah, sure, you can smash a hood girl with like no standards or like someone you're not even attracted to, but they're not satisfied with that. They're not satisfied. They still want what they can have. But it doesn't matter what they want. It doesn't matter what they want. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they desire. It doesn't even matter. What really matters is how we choose to move and how we feel about ourselves and the standards that we develop for ourselves. That's what matters. That's
Ex-
what matters. The only thing that concerns me with them is the violence. We have to be we have to think about things in terms of mitigating and preventing violent acts against Black women and girls by by these individuals who are increasingly becoming more and more disgruntled that we're not participating with the shenanigans.
Oh, so when you say, you're basically saying that these women fighting over that Dusty, is that what you're interpreting? I'm sorry. When you talk about
Which one?
violence,
No, 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 no. When I'm
oh, okay.
talking about violence, I'm talking about Black men, Black males, violence against Black women and girls.
Yes,
That's
but
the violence that I'm talking about.
mhm.
Because we've seen recent videos of like women rejecting these dusties and them assaulting them.
Yes, or even having their life taken away because they said the word no. Just like what
Yes.
happened to me over 6, 7 years ago when I was approached by a so-called high-value black man, and I rejected him because I felt that he was very annoying, and I felt that he was just coming on to me too strong, and I just didn't want to have it. And then that's when he cursed at me because I rejected him, and because of that, I ended up having PTSD for over 5 years. I didn't want to date. I just, then now I'm coming out of it, and now I'm reformed and being educated on femininity, and just basically living just differently now. So black, that's why black women have to expand their options. Like, yeah, we're getting our lives taken away, we're getting assaulted, we're getting all these disorders, PTSD. We're so broken. We're going to shows like Kevin Samuels and this other man's show only to get exploited, only to be belittled, only to just get just bashed by them left and right. Like, we have to realize these people, they're not for us, and they will never be for us. And if they all of a sudden want to be there, for us, it's because their preference doesn't want to be with them anymore. That's why and I'm guessing some of them are in those nursing homes, and they're talking about, oh, what happened in the yesteryears and this and that. But you caused all that to happen because you wanted to be with the shiniest object out there that was, giving you that you felt you was going to get your best life. And then all of a sudden, when it is no longer, it's no longer there, now you want to run back to us. Now you want us to mammy for you again. Now you want to give
Black
us
women
apology.
Black
Continue. I'm
women are
sorry.
not a rehabilitation center.
Hmm.
Black women are not a rehabilitation center, and we need to stop doing that. No, 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 no. You got to love me at your height, baby. That's why I say, yeah, we only date established men over here for those purposes alone. For those purposes alone. We date established men. When you're on the top of your career or damn near at it, that's when I want you. That's when I want you. When you not on the decline, I'll pass. On the come up, I'll pass. Now, women in their 20s, they might have some wiggle room. They might have some wiggle room. As far as dating men on the trajectory, because they have more time. But in my 30s, no, I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of time to gamble on if you're going to make it or not. No,
Exactly.
because they don't gamble on beauty. They get the prettiest woman that they can afford. They get the prettiest woman that they can afford. So since you're not going to gamble on beauty, I'm not going to gamble on resources. Period.
Exactly.
Period, boo.
Exactly. You want to be the woman that they cannot have, um, that is out of their reach, because that's when you become really, really, really valuable. So that's something that I learned, definitely.
Yeah. All right, sis. Was there anything else that you wanted to share before I wrap up?
Nothing else. Great insight. Thank you for breaking down everything and allowing me to share. And basically, just, yeah, black women, expand your options, and and you won't have to be exploited like this. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much, the woman who doesn't exist to you. I really appreciate you joining the stream. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Definitely share because we are creeping up. I think we're at like 400 subscribers. So I would like to thank all of my subscribers, and I would like to thank those who are considering subscribers. Go and hit that subscription and hit the notification bell. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. This was just wow, y'all. Um, we gotta like we have to just push this colorism conversation forward, and we need to do it in a way that's healthy and progressive. Um, to have these conversations in spaces that will be conducive for progress. And so, as Black women, that's something that we have to be mindful of. We have to be mindful of and very guarded with our heart. You know, everyone isn't deserving for us to bare our soul and to bare our heart. We need to vet anybody that is probing for, vulnerable aspects of ourselves. We need to vet them, and we need to make sure that this space is safe. We need to make sure that the space is nurturing, that the space is going to allow for processing, that will be supportive, and that we're not going to walk into lions' dens, right? We're not going to walk into lions' dens expecting compassionate situations, but we're going to be very mindful and very diligent and prudent as to where we are able to let our guards down so that we can protect ourselves. Because I think that when I'm talking about the little girl inside has to regain trust in you as the big you. And so part of the covenant between grown adult woman you and little girl you, because the little girl you is those raw emotions. It is those childhood traumas. That is all wrapped up in the little girl inside of you. She needs to trust that you will not feed her to the wolves. She needs to trust you that you will keep her safe. That is how we continue to heal emotionally. Once we start to develop that trust within ourselves, that we will care for the innermost child, the innermost workings of ourselves, and keep it sacred and keep it um just keep it sacred. Keep it protected. We are the first line of defense of our own protection. And so when we protect that little girl, we develop an energy I deserve protection. I deserve to be in loving environments. And then we illuminate that energy, and we attract men and people into our lives that will add to our protection that is radiating from within. I want to remind you that you are unique, that you are beautiful, that you are worthy, and that you are lovable. And I appreciate you. Peace.